And we are back on Professional Wrestling, the podcast, because we're not quite pros, but we're definitely bros with the chosen lawyer. And he's back, the one, the only, Jean-Pierre El Coury. JP, Jean-Pierre, it is so good to see you back, man. It's been way too long.
I've missed you, buddy. We've been away going through the states and got to check out Hulk Hogan's beach shop, which was awesome. That beautiful tea in the background,
Thank
and
you. Thank you.
got to see a whole bunch of great things. And now feeling refreshed, freshly re-squeezed, and ready to go.
Let's see that top. Oh, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Been having these debates, with my wrestling protege, Mason Rush, and, talking about people that love WWE and people that love AEW and some that love both. I can't talk to everybody about AEW, unfortunately, All Elite Wrestling. So for the next few weeks, I want to skip WWE. They're kind of there in the background, and we'll get to them when we have to. But I really want to focus on AEW, give them the love because they've been doing some really, really good things. I'm really vested in the storylines. I'm still upset that in Canada, while you're trying to build an audience, you don't put it on free TV for all the shows. So you can get Dynamite on free TV, and then you have to order TSN Plus subscription that nobody knows exists or orders it in order to watch Rampage and Collision. So before we get into our AEW stuff today, I want to jump in and ask you first question is, why did AEW do this to us in Canada? Why can't we watch all the shows?
You know what? I think they're probably not too far out from launching their own app. I think that was one of the reasons they also bought ROH is I think they're going to have a big database and do the same thing as as WWE and create their own platform, which I would love because it would help simplify. They seem to be rolling out a lot more pay-per-views this year than ever before, so that might be a little bit of savings there.
I don't quite understand the idea of having back-to-back pay-per-views. I don't know what they were quite thinking over there. I think they could have spread that out a little bit. And the way you order their pay-per-views, it's convoluted. Like, I get a nice Sportsnet subscription. With my Sportsnet subscription, I get all the WWE, all the NXT pay-per-views. My life is very, very simple. We don't have to go searching for pay-per-views. It seems they have it on all sorts of platforms, but as it is, you'd have to pay people to watch Rampage with the kind of talent they put on there. And then you got Collision, which you're trying to push this new Saturday show. Most people, it's hard enough to convince people to watch 3 AEW shows in a week, but not to offer them. I don't know. I think they're missing the boat on that.
I hear you, but I think it's, they're still a young company, right? I think they're making their way towards that app. And I think I believe it will launch in the near future. And when it does, it'll give us the fix that we need.
So for
Because
today's
AEW's
episode,
just been crushing it.
I agree. And I like the idea of Collision. Don't get me wrong. And I like the brand split. And now you had your pro CM Punk guys and your anti CM Punk guys and bring all the CM Punk people over to Collision. So for episode 1, you build a show, Collision, around CM Punk. You got Collision in his hometown of Chicago, followed by the weekly pay-per-view, this one being All Out. And Tony Khan comes on and decides, I don't feel very safe with CM Punk around, so I'm just going to fire him. Is this an episode of South Park? Is this a work? Is this for real? I wanted our AEW analyst to give us the scoop because there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat lines and on Reddit. So we're going to hear first from JP. JP, with our AEW correspondent, what is going on with CM Punk and why are they doing this to me?
Well, I definitely don't think that this is a work. I think this is 100% legit issue, in my opinion, and in my professional opinion. I think that I don't know if you've heard all the rumor mills, but apparently CM Punk came really close to getting face to face with Tony Khan, and it got very, very heated from what I've heard. And there's footage. I haven't been able to track down the footage, but it does exist.
I would pay
So
$50 for that footage. I would
that's
love to watch that because I feel like Tony Khan, before he goes to swat a fly, would apologize to it. So
Yeah.
I can't see that at all.
And you know what? I am so proud that when I had the chance to boo CM Punk, I booed him to the max at Forbidden Door, and I have zero regrets about that. Goodbye, good riddance. I think AEW is so much better off.
I completely disagree with this. I completely disagree with this. I don't see this. And I'd like to tell you that you're right. And we're going to talk about the rumors that he's heading over to WWE and he's going to be going and, dethroning Roman Reigns. He's the guy. Because, man, what kind of hype you have going bringing CM Punk back. But this is the perfect work. I mean, having him in his hometown, firing him from his hometown, having to bring in Dennis Rodman to distract people. That's amazing. But I think this is fantastic because think about this. Now you have Jack Perry, who's suspended too, right? I have been on the show many times and said my hatred for Jungle Jack Perry. Hated
I
with a
recall.
passion. I like evil Jack Perry. I love the man bun. I love the evil classical music when he pops in. I love everything about this. I think this is a great gimmick. And having him fight CM Punk, I can't get enough of this. So I cannot wait to see Jack Perry back on my screen. Firing CM Punk makes it even better. I think that they're trying to pull the wool over all our eyes and they're trying to get us talking about it, and it's working. It's
It
working.
is working. It's definitely working. You know,
So
it's working. Lots of people out there are talking about this. The internet is still a buzz. And you know what? In due time, we'll find out. But I can see why CM Punk would want to take on Roman Reigns and dethrone him because Roman Reigns' current title run is about longer than all of CM Punk's AEW career. So I could see why he would have some beef with Roman. That could set it up.
So let's go. I mean, I this is no particular order, but let's start off with this. So WWE all of a sudden announces that CM Punk coming back. The viewership is going to be bananas, like just the way like it was in AEW when he came back to
100%.
there. For sure, people are going to be interested in this. Him in Survivor Series facing Roman Reigns theoretically and taking his belt. And by the way, do you know where Survivor Series is this year?
Chicago, I believe.
Right. And do you know what day it's on?
No, I don't recall the date.
It's on November 25th. You know what's very special about November 25th, JP?
You gotta feed me that info, buddy.
It's my birthday, bro.
Oh, happy birthday, buddy.
If CM Punk is going to face Roman Reigns at Survivor Series in Chicago, guarantee I'm going to be heading over to Chicago and eating some deep dish pizza and watching CM Punk take the title. I can see where if I had to put the scale of never coming back to WWE burns the bridge, John Moxley is far ahead on that race for me than CM Punk. Buddy, Hulk Hogan made it back after he screwed WWE. If Hogan can come back, I think anybody can come back. So
Absolutely.
if this is not a work, I'm going to tell you that they are going to capitalize on this for sure. And I would say he is coming back to WWE then. I don't think he will actually dethrone Roman Reigns, but it would give us an interesting match at Survivor Series regardless. So that should be fairly interesting in alignment with the whole Jack Perry thing. So now Jack Perry at the same, they go hand in hand right now. So we
Mm-hmm.
all understand that Jack Perry wanted to use real glass in a promo. Lord knows why. CM Punk says, no, 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 safety first. I'm Chick Magnet Punk, and this is why we do not do this. And Jack Perry's like, I'm evil Jack Perry, and I will use damn glass if I feel like it. This makes Jack Perry look from a wiener to a cool dude for me. Is the Jack Perry suspension real, or is that a work as well?
I'm gonna have to go with real because I mean you just cost Tony a lot of money. I it, I don't know if it's gonna be the end of him professionally. I think he can recover from it. He's very young, but I think he's actually gonna be sidelined for a bit. You just cost Tony Khan a bunch of money, a bunch of ticket sales. I think there's gonna be some type of consequence to his actions.
How
But
so? How so? How did he cause him to lose money and lose the ticket sales? I'm fascinated.
you know, as much as I don't like CM Punk, he does put butts in seats. We can't deny that.
Right.
The merch sales,
Yes.
the contracts, everything that they were working around, creating Collision just for CM Punk to basically produce. Tony has given him the keys to the city for CM Punk to basically run his own show, have creative, everything like that in Collision. And now they lost all that and they have to start from scratch without the key player.
So you're saying that Jack Perry's the scapegoat because Jack Perry instigated this?
I possibly.
Wow. Wow. I am blown away with that one because CM Punk can screw it up for himself just fine. Thank you very much.
Oh, and he did.
Oh, and he
He
did.
got it pretty good.
That's
He
okay.
he's at an age and as a leader of a locker room where he doesn't need to pull that stuff. That was
Dude,
totally. I'm not saying that it was. I'm not saying that he shouldn't react at all, but there's a way to handle it. You're in your 40s. You're a seasoned vet. You've been through all. I'm sure a lot of locker room drama. I'm sure you had it in your toolbox to handle things better.
do
And that's
you
the second strike
remind us the first strike?
with my boys, all elite, right? They're huge brawl in the back, and that's what led to the creation of Collision, right? Was that, and apparently there was also some heat that weekend as well with the elite. They were supposed to have a sit down with Punk, and that was canceled. So who knows? There was I think a lot of cooks in that kitchen to start that fire.
I think the Elite are just as guilty, if not more guilty, than CM Punk, by the way, because they were the VPs and they got that stripped away because they took advantage like little children. Because if you're like,
Hmm.
oh, little Timmy, you're in charge of the candy, but don't eat candy before dinner, he'll eat candy before dinner. So with Jack Perry, now I'm putting this all in perspective here because I'm quite fascinated. I knew you'd have a different take on this because I don't see the big picture always. Jack Perry, do you like the heel character or do you miss Jungle Jack?
No, I'm digging the heel character. You know, for the last little bit, he's really stepped it up. He's starting to look comfortable in it. At first, it was very cringeworthy, but in the last few weeks, especially leading up to his rematch with Hook, he was starting to nail it. And I like the angle of him going heel and everything. Maybe a reunion with Luchasaurus and Christian, like that could have turned into something really great. You know, saying Christian, you were right. This is the way we should have been doing it, and they could have spun that storyline further. But now with this suspension, I don't know how he's gonna look right now.
Are we going to see Jack Perry back on our televisions this year?
That's a good one. I could say in the next couple months, definitely not, but maybe he'll be back this year, if at all. I don't know how long they're gonna take this. I don't have all the numbers of what he potentially cost with that confrontation, but I'm guessing it's a whole boatload of money.
You know what?
CM Punk's a draw.
Jack Perry coming on with Christian Cage and saying, my dad died and I'm better than you, Nick Wayne, who can't handle that. With for some reason, Christian Cage is obsessed with dead dads, but
Yeah, he's just going right through the roster.
but Jack Perry bringing it up too would be quite the scene. I'm going to tell you, I'm Jack Perry's back within a month, 2 months max, and I think that don't count out CM Punk yet. That real heavyweight championship belt, which by the way, you know how they handed a participation championship belt to Seth
Yeah.
Rollins, right? So now we need that version in AEW miraculously, and then he spray paints it as well, like NWO, right? So
Oh yeah, definitely.
fine. I'm good. What happened to that belt now?
I guess it's retired. Maybe it'll come back as the hardcore belt.
The 20 it's sitting with the 20, or is Tony gonna bring it back, not spray painted, and have a tournament for the next winner? And then when CM
Perhaps.
Punk comes back, says, I never lost it again.
And just keep rolling with it. But you know what I hope Tony Khan is gonna do? Tony, if you're listening, please hand over Collision to Brian Danielson. He is amazing. He could run the show. He can call the shots. He is your go-to man. This performance at All Out just recently, while injured, was just spectacular. He is the future of that organization, and they better hold him close.
Forbidden Door. He stole the show. I mean, I love Will Ospreay. I became a huge Will Ospreay fan watching him live.
Likewise.
But Brian Danielson, whatever he's choosing to be, he put on a clinic. I gained so much respect for that guy. Is he still part of the BCC?
He is. And now imagine them kind of taking over, like how NWO kind of took over WCW. They're going to creep in, take over Collision, and start, if they want to keep the locker room divided. I'm hearing rumors that they might axe that. So,
the BCC?
that they might axe the Collision guys versus Dynamite guys. That's going to become, all one locker room again. So they may do that, they may not. So with them, that would be a great platform to showcase a lot of their guys.
I'm all for that. I'm not that big into your FDR guys. I'm not really getting that, but I am loving Bullet Club Gold. I think the Guns were a great addition. Jay White is the man. I absolutely love what they're doing there. So we got a lot of good stuff going, but you see how everybody's intermingled, intertwined. So you happen to mention Christian Cage is going to come up in a few episodes. But as today, we're going to bring it full circle because you insisted we have to talk about this. So we have to. We talked about CM Punk. We talked about Jack Perry. The next guy, the rumor is
100% Toronto's very own Edge. These glasses are official Edge glasses from when he came out. I'll show you the signature on them. I don't know if that'll come out in the video or not.
Amazing. Amazing.
So
you're a wrestling nerd. I love it. I love it. I love it.
It's the best. It's
I love
the best.
it. I love it.
So, and I had them ready just for today, and it worked perfectly with the FTR since FTR also played a critical role in getting him back into the ring. So we're talking about Edge here. Huge opportunity. He said it was going to be his last SmackDown in Toronto. I don't think he's done. I think getting rid of Punk opens up the door to potentially sign him and have that huge star power moving forward. I think Edge can do it. He can still go. And I think the potential of matchups is huge at AEW for him.
I think Edge can still go straight to retirement. I am done as dinner. I do not want to see him in AEW. I don't want to see this Edge run. I am so, you know what? He came back, all the power. He lost his luster so quickly. The whole thing with the Judgment Day and with Beth Phoenix. What are they going to do with him? I don't want to see this. The only thing is, if we're going to do this, then I know you want to see reunited Edge and Christian, but what will 100%. Happen is you're going to have heel Christian versus babyface Edge. And Christian saying, I was always the top guy. You held me back. And we're going to have that match. That's as far. Only way I allow him to AEW is if we're going to have that match and you promise me that match.
I can almost promise you that match if he signs because I believe he wants to be retired by Christian. That's a huge thing for them. So, and the potential of matchups. I'd love to see Edge and Christian have a program with FTR. I think they could put on a great show. FTR are excellent wrestlers, technical wrestlers. They can really work it, and I think they can carry that kind of match. Have one tag team title run, and then from there cause the divide. And I think they could make a good program.
Otherwise, if I have to say from matchups point of view, I'm not interested in MJF against Edge. I would be curious at like an Orange Cassidy. I think that'd be an interesting matchup for me. Or a Jay White. If we're going to go that route. There are possibilities. I mean, there's 300 wrestlers on the roster here. Might
Yeah,
as well make a fourth show while we're at it, because Keith Lee's still sitting in the back. Miro's still sitting in the back. But you have all these guys. Samoa Joe apparently is relevant again, so by all
yeah,
means.
and I'm
But
happy for that. I love Joe, man. That
Joe's
guy,
Joe's great on the
he's
mic. Joe is
amazing.
great on the mic. Yes,
Mike,
yes.
and for his, because he's older now too, but he still goes with the best of them. He put on a great show at All Out in his match against Shane Taylor, I believe. It was really well executed match, and Joe can do it. He can still run with the best of them. So, lots of potential there. I'd love to see, as nostalgic as it sounds, I'd love to see a Hardys and Edge and Christian match. I think that's still on the table, if you will, right? So there's a lot of things that I would love to see. And by your face, I can tell you want it too.
Only if Lita is the guest referee. Oh, when real storylines become wrestling storylines, you
Oh,
got
that's true.
to love it. As we sum up today's episode, we've put in a lot of information out there. I think we're on totally different spectrums on a lot of these, but it can go either way, certainly. I mean, I think we're going to agree that we are going to see CM Punk show up somewhere at some point, likely. We think Jack Perry is going to be back at some point somewhere. It's just a major question is, what is a work? What isn't? Is Edge going to be now the brand ambassador for WWE going forward and have his Hall of Fame contract, or does he come back? Should be interesting. But I have one last question that I got to ask you because it's really bugging me here. Is CM Chump a real nickname for him?
Oh, that's my nickname for him. And I think he's earned that very well. He gave up a lot by acting really unprofessionally, and he basically had his own show. He had his own creative. He was really well paid. He could have made lots of money with endorsements, everything like that. Because what's great about Tony Khan is he's okay to share you. If you want to go wrestle here, you can. If you want to run your own deal here, you can. Right? Whereas the other guys, they don't really give that freedom. If you're working for the E, that's all that you're working for. So I think he really made a big fumble there, and I think he's the odd man out in this. I think Jack Perry's going to fare a lot better than CM Punk long term, and maybe not right away, but long term, I think uh, Perry's getting out very lucky because he's younger too. So it's expected that you'll make mistakes, but not from the locker room leader, if you will.
Were you ever a CM Punk fan?
I wasn't over the moon about him. I was a fan. I'm grateful I got to say that I saw him live. Um, but I was never a huge like this is the guy. He was he's really entertaining, but he's not my style. I like more technically sound wrestlers like Seth Rollins, FTR, you know, the guys who really commit to the full business. And CM Punk is excellent on the entertainment side, but not so much on hitting everything crisp and clean.
He wasn't in
If
my
you're,
yeah. He wasn't in my era. Like I grew up in the Hulk Hogan era. That's where we have the shirt here.
oh yeah,
And I came back to wrestling later in life. So I wasn't in that attitude era as much. I gotta admit, I was not a fan for the longest time. When I saw him in UFC, I thought that was pretty cool.
yeah,
But truthfully, when I found out CM stood for Chick Magnet, I gained a lot of respect for the guy. That's when I became a CM Punk fan. So I think that's pretty freaking cool, actually. And I'm telling you, man, like he promoted safety first, just like Smokey the Bear. Don't use real glass. I think he's right.
yeah.
The Tony Khan
I'm on
thing,
the fence.
I don't know what the discussion was and how it began, but I'd like to say if he did not instigate this thing at all, I'm telling you, man, if it is a work, this is classic because that's everybody talking, making it relevant again. And
Hmm.
Lord, if he comes back, they're going to get just as big of a pop as they did the first time around because he was starting to get a little bit stale too. People were kind of losing interest, started booing him or cheering him. I'm telling you, this now creates the thing where he's just going to get all boos, but that's okay.
Yep, and I think we can both agree that it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. It's so much good wrestling happening
Do you know when is the best time to be a wrestling fan?
all the time, baby.
All the time. This is Professional Wrestling, the podcast. That's JP and Jonathan. We'll see you all back next week. And we're going to continue our AEW series because I want to bring up a guy who I think is very, very underrated and likely destined as the future AEW champion, whichever one of the two belts it is today. We'll see you all back soon.